Thank you, Mr. Maruf Raza. Maybe my keynote address may look to be a response to the keynote address by the earlier two speakers, that is Dr. Ram Shastri and Mr. Shivanandan. While I don't negate the things, but I will like to place the perspective of a banker. A lot heard about the banker being a casual, the top management of the bank do not really give that much of importance to the security, so on and so forth. Let me tell you that I am a Chief Executive of Indian Bank Association. Before that, I was a Chairman of Central Bank of India. Before that, I was an Executive Director of Financial Bank. I had served Union Bank of India for full 35 years, almost 40 years in the banking industry. And I feel that it is most unfortunate that the banking industry is always a sufferer of the perception rather than the reality. The gathering, whatever is available to me, I would definitely like to place my views before you. At the outset, let me thank and congratulate the organizer, Security Watch India, hosting a conference on leveraging innovative security solutions for banks and financial institutions. I think the discussion, what is expected of is on the need for security legislation and clear security guidelines from the regulator for the security of banks, ATMs and cash in transit. The banking is all about the trust and confidence its customers and other stakeholders expecting safe and secured delivery of services by the banks. This is the basic premise on which we run the banking industry. And we just can't afford to really ignore the basic premise that you can't really gain the trust and confidence if you don't deliver the safe and secure services. Today, the banking sector offers the delivery of services from more than 110,000 branches across the country, out of which maybe 60% plus are in rural and semi-urban areas. And the various alternate delivery channels like 140,000 ATMs on-site and off-site. It is expected that this network should reach almost 2 lakh, maybe by this financial reign. And the expected penetration is around 4 lakh ATMs. You have internet banking, you have mobile banking, you have card banking, which includes debit card, credit card, prepaid cards, which are customized or otherwise, and which are operational domestically as well as overseas. So these are the delivery channels. So one has to look at the security, as rightly said by Mr. Ram Shastri, it has to be enterprise-wide security solutions for management. Well, in the given scenario, while the panel largely discussed on the physical security, I would like to emphasize that the society has to gradually move towards a less cash society, meaning thereby more and more transactions on the alternate delivery channels using cards, mobile and net banking. Well, the threat is there also. But I think it's very, very essential. It's high time that our society is largely using the cash and currency for the transactions. I'm sure yesterday you must have covered enough on the various kind of security challenges on the cyber crimes, pilferage of data using malwares, card cloning, so on and so forth. We heard Mr. Shivanandan enough of that. While the country is marching towards achieving a meaningful financial inclusion, I heard Mr. Maruf Raza saying that the banking has not reached even to the 50% of the population. It's true. When we are working for financial inclusion, what we have to ensure that you offer the accessibility of services to each and every citizen of the country, underline at an affordable price. At an affordable price, the challenges are going to be many more going forward. Well, the subject is about the physical security, and I think it has become very popular after the episode of Bangalore. All stakeholders and media is finding it very, very interesting to talk about the same for years together. And of course, there is another threat, that is the cash movement, the cash ones, particularly when the country is undergoing the national elections. Well, let me tell you, as a representative of Indian Bank Association, we do perceive a threat. We perceive a threat at the brick and mortar branches. I told you 1,10,000. Currency chest, which are more than 4,000. ATMs, 1,40,000 plus. Cash in transit between branch to branch and branch to currency chest. And cash in transit for the replenishment of cash in the ATMs, inclusive of vaulting of cash by the managed service providers. No doubt when you talk of security, it is physical security which immediately strikes your mind. But the question arises whether the cost of physical security meets with the cost-benefit analysis required to be made by the commercial organizations. Let me tell you that even if it does not meet with the cost-benefit analysis, the banks do not compromise the security, and there is enough cross-subsidization of the security cost in the other activities. I really do not have the numbers to tell Mr. Maruf Raza whether the expenses on the security are 1% or not. I think the Captain Kannan, who was my lieutenant in Central Bank of India, the very fact that this vertical, which has grown in Central Bank of India to be headed by a deputy general manager, I think should be enough proof that the top management is absolutely seized of the security issues in the banking industry. I'm absolutely not comfortable on getting those things against the banking industry. Well, that things would still happen. I think you have to look at the different risk mitigants as well. You just can't rule out, because I don't think that the physical security is the total and absolute risk mitigant. There are a number of cases where we have seen that the physical securities have themselves compromised or have been manhandled and have not proved effective. I think the efficacy of physical security is to be much talked about. The kind of security personnel which you see at the ATMs or in the banks when you have to hire from the outsourcing agency, I think the group has to really discuss a lot about that. I think the banks do take enough care about the security part, right from locating a branch and the ATM. Each and every premises is certified by a security officer that, well, it is secured. I think Captain Kannan should agree with me on this count. I think we need to expand a branch network extensively. I have figures. We have in the Naxalite area more than 10,000 branches in the Naxalite area across the country. Banks do classify their branches and the ATM on the risk assessment to be more vulnerable, less vulnerable, not vulnerable, and decide the physical security requirement depending on the vulnerability of the branches or the ATMs. I don't think that anywhere the physical security has been done away with. It's a wrong notion. There is a lot of assessment going on. A huge force of the security management is there. There is a vertical which operates in the banking industry, headed by nothing. I think I had Brigadier Manohar in Punjab National Bank, Captain Kannan in Central Bank, maybe in Union Bank, must be of the same rank, colonel rank or somebody. Anyway, I think the biggest challenge is getting the right kind of a security personnel. I am seeing in the Maharashtra state level security meeting where the RBI convenes, you don't get the people, sir. You don't have a right kind of the recruitment agencies to provide right kind of people. If you get that, then the armed licenses itself is a big question. I think there are a number of issues which have to be really resolved by the regulators. Need not be RBI alone, it has to be the state also, because I think when this episode happened in Bangalore, none other than the finance minister of the country himself stated that it is more of a law and order issue of the state rather than asking the banks alone to take care of it. It's a very wrong notion and wrongly painted things, because I think we catch up the things which we like more. That's all, nothing. I think on the currency chest, all currency chests are constructed as per the specifications of Reserve Bank of India, certified by them. But when it comes to the security, I think many state governments are not in a position to provide the desired security. We are resorting to the outsourcing, I am very sure. Do I have time? I'm sorry. Okay. I'll take another 2-3 minutes. So many currency chase. Let me tell you as a chairman, I had to compromise. Come on, let's go for an outsourcing agency because the state doesn't want to. They said they don't have the people, they don't have the police to be provided. And either you stop the business or you do a business. And that kind of a situation is there. For movement of cash between the branch and the currency chest or otherwise, all these activities used to be largely done by the bank itself, using their own cash funds, using their security personnel, using their own staff. But with the growing requirement and the facilities available also, I think these activities are now getting outsourced. But believe me that as the Indian Bank Association, we are working on uniform norms for hiring the outsourcing agencies. The Cash Logistic Association is working with the IBA, where we are talking about the cash replenishment agencies and the minor services agencies, that how we can really standardize everything. And when it was regarding the ATM security, let me tell you that very consciously the banking industry deliberated on these issues and responded to the Reserve Bank, to the police, to the through the state level bankers committee and to the press. That we realized that yes, the physical security probably is a good deterrent. But then 1,40,000 ATMs multiplied by 40,000 rupees security per month for 3 securities 24/7. I think there is a time when you have to look for an alternate solutions also. So we decided that, well, depending on the vulnerability, please put the physical security. If not, at least ensure e-surveillance is available. I think lot has been talked about e-surveillance being only CCTV. No. Today, most of the bankers are using the e-surveillance where the hooters are there, callers are there, the mitigants where from the common place, the miscreant, the criminal is told, look here, you are guy, you are being watched by me. The gadgets are being used, may not be across the industry, it will happen gradually. But we are all sensitized to it, that we must be using sensors, we must be using hooters, we must be using all the developed gadgets for that. I think most of the banks are open. There was no need to keep all ATMs open 24/7. The transaction analysis suggests that hardly 1 or 2 transactions happen in the night, and that too by some druggist who doesn't have the money to buy the drug in the night. So we took the decision that depending on the service requirement, pull the shutter of the ATM in the night hours, between 10 in the night, 6 in the morning. Absolutely fine. I think there should not be any issue on that. There should not be a requirement. There should be, there should be physical security. Since you opened the ATM, you should keep it open. Not required. All public places, ATMs are operational 24/7. All places where better security is available, 24/7, it is available. I think, I'm very happy to, let me tell you that when these 3 decisions, we have well publicized, defended the banking industry, I want to claim that the occurrences and the incidences at the ATM have not happened during last 3 to 4 months' time. They have reduced, certainly. But I don't think that the society can say that you will zero it down. No society can claim it with whatever kind of securities you have. Well, I am coming to the main subject. There are enough regulations in the place with regard to security, but they need to be revisited in today's context. Make them comprehensive as suggested by Rashastri, make it inclusive and make it implementable. Unfortunately, in our system, the regulations are complied by the checklist, whether they are implementable or not. The compliance by checklist is not the regulation. The regulation should really one where the compliance can happen in the normal course of thing. the implementation could happen. And I think, yes, it is required that whatever regulations are there or missing, we must revisit the regulations. We must come out with the, I totally appreciate with Dr. Ram Shastri, who is going to head the IDRBT and will be closely working at the IBA with IDRBT, that can we think of the enterprise wide security policy. I think with these words, let me assure from the Indian Bank Association that we are totally sensitized to the need of the society, because we believe that banking is a subject of trust and confidence. And we will ensure that today when 50 crores plus accounts are being nurtured by us, and going forward we'll be nurturing almost 100 crores of the accounts, we believe that we will win the trust and confidence of our stakeholders and the account holders. The IBA used to have some guidelines on securities and all that prepared in 2004. We have taken the decision that we will have a working group for reviving that, and shortly the IBA is calling the meeting of the chief security officers to revive that guidelines. Thank you very much. All the